Again, my name is Chris Hartman. I'm the Director of Engineering at the Port of Port Angeles. If you have an opportunity to pull up the PowerPoint, then there's some pictures and stuff of some of the upcoming projects. You know, a lot of what we got going on is, you know, we're a rather small agency. The Port was, excuse me. Our mission at the Port is to bring people, resources, and industry together to foster economic prosperity and living wage jobs. And we do this by building infrastructure to support commerce, by building capital intensive facilities, allowing companies to do business and bring jobs to our community. The Port was originally established in 1923, so we're just on the doorstep of our 100-year anniversary next year. We operate 4 deep water marine terminals, 1 log yard, 2 marinas, 2 airports, and industrial properties with roughly 100 separate leases, most of which are at our airport industrial parks. We have a composite manufacturing campus and a business park up surrounding the airport. Our port facilities are really concentrated around the Port Angeles waterfront, but that's by no means all that we do. A general overview, if you really go from Valley Creek to McKinley Paper Mill, most of that property, not all, but most of which is under Port control and ownership, including the former Cape Line Mill site, which is to be our future Marine Trade Center, our marine terminals, the Boathaven Marina, and the Port's log yard. Our 2022 elected commissioners include Commissioner Connie Beauvais as president, Commissioner Colleen McAleer as vice president, Commissioner Stephen Burke as secretary. And we've had the pleasure of having a really consistent board, really since 2016, where each of those members have served as president for at least 2 years, if not more. So it gives us some stability moving forward. And then I'll dive right into some of our upcoming public works projects. We're a rather small agency, so our volume of projects won't be like the county or the city, but they can be fairly capital intensive. We have our Boathaven, we're replacing the fuel float. That project is under construction currently. Our Cofferdam dock facility, which is really a sheet pile bulkhead, is receiving some improvements and repairs. We're replacing our restroom at the Boathaven. Runway 26, which is the main runway at the Fairchild International Airport, is being resurfaced this summer. And then we have a number of environmental cleanups that are in process. So currently the Boathaven fuel float, that's approximately a $1.5 million project. Nearly half of it funded through 2 separate grants through U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife, is under construction now. American Construction is the general contractor. They have utilized a few local subs. As you can see from the picture, a lot of that is installed. They're still being impacted by supply chain issues, which I know most projects are these days. So a lot of the fuel dispensing equipment is back ordered. So we're a bit of a standstill right now with finishing that project. This is another project that is scheduled to happen this summer. I think this would be a great opportunity for a lot of local contractors, dirt work contractors and the like. It's our Cofferdam dock facility improvement project. For those who may be aware that this Cofferdam is a sheet pile enclosed cell that was constructed during the graving dock project as a temporary structure. And the port has utilized it since as a barging facility for mainly logs to both come into local mills and be sent out to mills outside the region. So it's about a $1.2 million project. This is dependent, of course, on in-water work permits that we've been waiting on for well over a year, but it is scheduled to happen this summer. Scope of that work is to install a fiberglass sheet pile encasement, replacement of the structural whaler, and reconstruction of the mechanically stabilized earth wall, which is really a fancy way of a block wall with a geotextile fabric in between each layer. Another project, and this one probably has less importance to a lot of local contractors, but it's something that the port is doing this year. We're purchasing a prefabricated concrete restroom facility to replace our existing restroom at the West Boat Haven. This work will be largely accomplished with in-house labor for the site prep, and then the delivery of the restroom will come in multiple sections and then put together on site. This is about a $250,000 project that's scheduled for this winter installation. Our large project is about a $6.15 million grind and overlay of our existing runway surface and taxiway Alpha. This is another project that's scheduled for this summer. It's federally funded and will so include a lot of those federal requirements for projects, and we'll go out to bid this spring for construction in the summer. And I'll make mention of some of the environmental cleanups that are taking place. There's no construction scheduled for this summer, but there are ongoing projects, the largest of which for the port is the Western Port Angeles Harbor site. So there's a visual on the screen that you can kind of see some of those. This is a graphic from Ecology's website of the different cleanup sites around the city of Port Angeles. So really that's it. Like I mentioned, the port is a rather a smaller agency than you'll see with the city and the county. So our list of projects is smaller, but we're still quite active each and every year, maintaining and upgrading our facilities. So there are ways for small contractors to contact me, and I can help anybody get set up, make sure they're on our small works roster for small projects to be bid out. And so if there's any questions, I'm happy to take those now or wait till the very end.
Hi, Chris. This is Lori Fazio.
Hi, Lori.
Hi. So is there a link that you can share or provide to me in an email for the small works roster on how a small business would be able to register for that?
Absolutely. Yes. We utilize, like many others, the Municipal Research and Service Center. So through mrsc.org is where you can go on and then register for the specific agencies, whether it be the city, county, or port. I can't say, I'm not sure that they all use it, but I believe the city does. But yeah, through that, they manage the port small works roster on our behalf.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure, Colleen can help with that too. And I just really want to say on behalf of the EDC, we're really glad that you were able to participate today, and we really appreciate all of your input and expertise in this field and all the projects that are going to be happening for the Port of Port Angeles.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, thank you, Lori, and thank you, Chris. And a note to our participants, as we move along in the sessions over the next 2 weeks, we will include pertinent links and stuff in the chat. And so mrscrosters.org is one of our critical resources locally. And Andrew will speak to that in regards to a couple agencies down the road here. So I think we're going to go ahead and head over to Thomas Hunter from the city of Port Angeles. And are you going to share your screen, Thomas?
No, no PowerPoint today. But I think that I'm much like we did last April. I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity to chat a little bit. I think that my conversation will follow many others, including Chris's. I think that it's really important to recognize that we follow a lot of the same municipal processes. So you might hear some redundant themes, but I think it's critically important that we realize there's a lot of opportunity in that because our processes are very similar. And that's why you'll hear that reoccurring theme. But I'll back up. My name is Thomas Hunter. I'm the Director of Public Works and Utilities for the city of Port Angeles. And so, what does that mean for folks that are listening in today? We oversee all utilities within the city. And really, we break that up into a couple of different factions. Obviously, everything that happens within the right of way, we are in charge of. So those are utilities like water, wastewater, sewer. We also run a solid waste utility and electrical utility. And then obviously the transportation portion of our portfolio as well, which is quite large. In addition to that, we have a lot of kind of quote unquote offsite facilities. So we have a water treatment plant, we have a wastewater treatment plant. We own and operate the regional transfer system for solid waste, and through an interlocal agreement, we work and partner with the county and the city of Sequim to move solid waste materials off of the peninsula, and a whole host of fun other elements that we get to do. Additionally, the Public Works Department oversees and manages the majority of the general facility projects that happen within the city. So these are going to be parks related projects, restroom related projects, capital projects that happen for the fire department and the police department. We handle those as well. If nothing else, at a minimum, the bidding and the contracting and some of the construction management and services such as that. So we have a whole portfolio of projects. If you look at our capital facilities plan 2022 through 2027 that was adopted by council, we have about $30 million worth of construction this year. And you'll see that kind of mirrored out over the next couple of years. That capital facilities plan, I can't stress enough, goes through a lot of vetting. It goes through a lot of vetting with staff, and then it goes through a lot of vetting with our council members. And there's a lot of time and energy put into that with a lot of public comment opportunity. So I encourage everybody to get involved in that process. It's kind of a never-ending cycle. It seems like we're always working to update the capital facilities plan and projecting what our projects are going to be. But that's not to say that we're in any way closed to discussing or talking or meeting at any time about our projects. We encourage everybody to reach out. You can reach out to myself or some of our engineering staff, and we would be happy to sit down with anybody and talk about what some of those upcoming projects are. You're going to see a lot of variety in the projects that the city puts out. We sometimes will go through a traditional bidding process where we're going to request a proposal. Those can be found on our city's website. I'll provide that link after I'm done so that we can shoot that out to everybody. And those are more of your standard bidding processes. I encourage anybody who's looking at doing bidding a project, whether it's in the right of way, something that involves underground utility, which we do a lot of. We have annual water and wastewater capital improvements that we're making. We have kind of semi-annual improvements that we're making to some of our substations in the electric utility and the water and wastewater plant. There's a lot of projects there. I would go to our RFP page or our RFQ page, and I would look at past proposals and past bids and really familiarize yourself with that process such that when a project comes up, you don't feel like there's a steep learning curve and kind of almost do a trial run, if you will, if you're looking to really maximize your ability to move quickly on a project that's put out by the city. Another thing that we do, depending on the type of work that you're looking for, is we will issue RFQs. And depending on the scope and the scale, we'll either issue a request for qualification, or we will actually go directly to the MRSC roster, which is what Chris had mentioned before. And we will select somebody from that roster or select a group of individuals and rank their qualifications and ultimately select somebody to reach out to and negotiate for services. What can that look like? That can look like engineering services, that can look like architectural services, and a whole host of other things. But the city will do that often to bring on things like on-call contracts for support, or sometimes even larger projects. A third way that we'll move projects out is through a design-build process. And we don't typically do that as much, but that's not to say that we won't. but that's another one that you can familiarize yourself with as well. So the two big takeaways there really are, make sure that you're maximizing your opportunities by being on that MRSC roster and really taking the time to ensure that you're checking all the right boxes as to what your firm or your company can perform, because there's a lot of subcategories that we will search to try and find the right contractor. So that's really important. Number two, familiarizing yourself with our bidding process is key. And number three, really looking through our capital facilities plan and picking out those projects that you think that you're going to want to be involved in. And we have some relatively large projects that are getting ready to go. One that I think most people are familiar with is the Race Street Phase 1, completes here in the very near future. And we're very project. Just an awesome project sandwiched in between a great sports facility and civic field and an amazing park. And I'm sure everybody's seen the new Dream Playground and all the fun things that are going on over there. So really excited about that project. More importantly, I want to highlight that the city is undergoing a couple of very labor-intensive planning processes right now that are all in different stages. One would be the Wastewater Comprehensive Plan, which identifies our major capital improvements that we'll be doing over the next really 6 to 20 years. And out of that, you see projects like the Marine Drive Wastewater Capital Enhancement Project. That's about a $2.5 million project where we're replacing a main trunk line down Marine Drive. That's going to significantly increase development capacity on the west end and replace some failing infrastructure that has just met its useful life. Another great project that we're working or just starting to work on this year is the Transportation Management Plan. That is a project and a process that the city has not gone through, at least in the past couple of decades, to really truly evaluate our entire transportation network and some of the big projects that are going to be coming out of that in different phases is going to be pretty tremendous. We see that as a 3-phase staging project with the first phase kicking off this year. So that's something to pay close attention to. Another fun project that I know is being talked about within the community is the partnership between a couple of different agencies, but certainly the city and the county, being the PenCon Facility that we're doing some due diligence on. So we're really excited about that and where that might go. That'll be a big facilities project when it goes to kick off. So I look forward to continuing to collaborate with the county on that. And quite honestly, I could talk for hours about all the projects that we have coming up, but I would really just encourage you, if you're looking for that opportunity to whether act as a general or to even look at being a sub for some of the for another general on some of the projects we have coming up, don't hesitate to reach out. I feel like I can probably speak or echo on behalf of some of the other folks that are here today. We're always happy to sit down and talk. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
Hey, Thomas, so happy that and glad that you were on the call today. What percentage of local contractors do we see that take advantage of looking at the projects that are upcoming and actually take the opportunity to reach out to you there at the City of Port Angeles on the processes and what that looks like to bid on these projects?
It's a great question, Lori. I would say not as many as I would hope. I don't have a specific percentage for you. Depending on the type of work that's being done, you know, we typically see kind of repeat customers who have learned that process and they're very familiar with it. We love competition. We think that that's just great for the community, but we don't see a high number of people reaching out. And one other thing that I forgot to mention that's critically important, and it sounds like you all are talking about it tomorrow, is to just ensure that you really understand the surety or the bonding process for these projects, and that you know you've really evaluated your bonding portfolio such that you've got the ability to meet those requirements. And I will tell you, having worked for other jurisdictions, I do not feel that the city's bonding or surety requirement is overly onerous. There are definitely other municipalities that are going to want more in retainage. And I think that it really just goes to show the level of effort that our community and the municipalities put into ensuring that the projects turn out really well has resulted in a slightly lower bonding requirement than maybe some other agencies have had traditionally. So anyways, long story short, not a high number.
Okay, thank you for that. And so do we mostly see large primes from out of the area? And with that, do they hire locally for the subcontractors, or are we still seeing that we need to really work with our economy to generate that educational piece for subcontractors?
2021, we decided we needed to do something.
Yeah, I think that it's a slightly diverse answer depending on the type of project. I think that when you're looking at large facility type projects, you're definitely seeing a general from out of town with local subs, maybe doing some of the dirt work portion or maybe doing some of the utility portion. But when it comes to more niche type projects, let's say like a paving project, we're seeing the same folks, generally the same 2, maybe 3 bidders that are predominantly local, but you kind of have to define local. So I would say that generally we're still seeing a strong general contractor presence with a fair amount of local subs.
Once again, thank you for being on the call and participating. We really appreciate it, in support of the Clallam EDC and, representing the city of Port Angeles. Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you, Thomas. We look forward to finding some new opportunities for our small businesses in Clallam County through the city of Port Angeles. Next up, we have Steve Gray from Clallam County.
Yeah, we've got some slides. Steve's got a couple of slides put together, and I just kind of wanted to do an intro there and go a little bit before we end. So we don't have Chris's presentation was pretty nice. That was well done. We don't have that level. We just have some contact information on our presentation mainly. The main thing to understand that unlike the port and the city, our department in Public Works, we just deal with our sewers that we have and our roads. And there's other departments in the county that also put work out to bid, facilities type work that I think we're gonna, you'll see one of the slides is a list of capital facilities for the county wide. And while we don't administer those non-public works projects, you can share that list with folks and they'll see other projects that are coming up that are not roads and not sewer projects. So that's kind of our layout.
Joe, I can't see your screen share. If you mentioned you had something to present on the screen.
I was gonna just do the intro first and then share that. So I'll do that in just a second.
Perfect. I didn't hear that.
I could do it now. That's fine. The other thing that I wanted to mention that's a little different between what Chris and Thomas mentioned is we don't use the MRSC. We currently kind of go it alone at this stage. So that's what we're doing there. So it's basically a advertisement that folks are looking for, and also on our website, and we'll advertise in the newspaper and local newspaper and the Daily Journal, of course, and then we'll have a listing on our website for that. So it's a little different. We've looked at using the MRSC. We might do that in the future. Want to, I guess, echo the advice that Thomas says. Just call the department in here, call me, and we'll kind of hook folks up with details there. Okay, so I'm going to share this for you folks there. I'm going to let Steve Gray take over for our mainly our roads basically our capital facilities for our roads, which is our transportation improvement plan.
All right, so the slides we put on here are basically links, and I will forward this over because the list of projects is too much really to put on a couple slides in a 9-minute presentation. So a couple key links. You have our homepage here. This is the county homepage, and often non-public works projects, non-road projects will be listed for requests for proposals on the current issues. So that's one resource there. The next link, the county goes through a 5-year for all departments capital planning process, and the adopted capital plan, and you can get an idea of projects there from the various departments, is at this link that I provided on the screen. Where Joe and I work daily is in the public works, which includes the public works for both road division and utilities, and we also have a special project, the Dungeness Off-Channel Reservoir Project. If I'm a contractor, I definitely want to keep tabs, as Joe indicated. We will certainly advertise our requests for proposals, but we'll also list them on our public works site at that link. Under our road division link there, you have a couple key things that contractors would want to look at. Our 6-year transportation improvement program. And so in that program, you'll see 29 projects over the course of between 2022 and 2027 that we are targeting for funding. Some of them in various engineering, construction, a variety of road, bridge, culvert replacement, and Olympic Discovery Trail projects there. Another link on that page you'll see is to our 2020 annual construction program. So these are projects that we plan to do engineering on or construction on in 2022. And we are also, like Joe indicated, we'll put our request for proposals on that page. Looking at 22, a couple of our road projects that we will be looking to contract out the work will be our Dry Creek Road project, just west of Port Angeles, and we have a culvert replacement, Kugel Creek off of Cooper Ranch Road out west. But contractors should certainly keep tabs on this page for requests for proposals and work that's coming down the line. The next link is for our utilities division, where we're working on our solid waste plan. We've just inherited to do some planning for a water system. And then the last link is our Dungeness Off-Channel Reservoir Project. This is a special project to acquire property design to have a reservoir that will take in water off the Dungeness when it's not needed as much for salmon, and then reuse that water for the irrigators and other uses in the summertime to basically keep more water in the stream. That's a long-term project involving a lot of stakeholders. We're not ready to go to construction yet. We're more in the process of design and getting funding for that project. So I'll leave it at that. We will certainly forward so these links can be in the packet materials for folks. Thank you.
Okay. If there's any questions, yeah, we'll go ahead and open it up here for just a moment. So thank you, Joe, and thank you, Steve, for presenting today.
I'll add one thing real quick, Leslie. We do have, like most agencies, we have a consultant roster, of course, and a small works roster for work there, and that folks take advantage of local primes and subs, or I mean primes. So we encourage that. So we have those in place already.
Thank you very much. It's good to know what's going on in Clallam County. So with that, thanks. We're going to turn it over to Chris Fiddler from Field Arts and Event Hall. And this is a new entity to me, so I'm anxious to hear what's going on with them. So Chris, we'll turn it over to you. And if you have any slides, we're going to allow you to share your screen.
I do indeed. And so let me begin. My name's Chris Fiddler. I am the project director for the Field Arts and Events Hall, located on the corner of West Front and North Oak Street, downtown Port Angeles. And for those of you not familiar with the project, it is a combination performing arts and conference center. And it'll also include a art gallery and a coffee shop on the first floor. One of the things I do want to point out, because there tends to be continued confusion, is that this is a nonprofit, community-based nonprofit project. It's not a city project. It's not a county project, not a port project, not a state project or a federal project. And for whatever reason, I believe perhaps the magnitude of the building suggests that it's part of a government-sponsored effort. It's not. It's a small nonprofit that has created this wonderful building. So I'm just going to give you a quick construction update, because what you see there in that initial picture was where we are right now, and that is at shell and core. There's a picture of what I believe is the largest window on the North Olympic Peninsula. And shell and core, for those of you in the construction business, probably recognize it's everything on the outside of the building has been completed. Foundation, roofing, glazing, cladding, everything on the outside of the building has been done. It's lit, dried, and tempered, still curing that concrete that we placed last spring, but nothing on the inside has been completed. And that's where the remainder of the work is to be done. We stopped at shell and core because, like others in the nonprofit business, our funding dropped off precipitously once the virus struck. And so we decided to find a spot that made the most sense to stop, make everybody whole. So everybody who was on the job, the contractor and all the subs, are whole and paid. And then we were regrouped, and we're working now on getting the rest of the building done. And so just real briefly, I'll just describe it to you, the 3 M's, if you will, not Minnesota mining and manufacturing, but materials, money, and motivation. A lot of materials in here, 183 piles went down. You'll recall back in early 2019, a lot of concrete, a lot of structural steel, a lot of reinforcing steel, and then this glazing on the outside, that big window I showed you. Plus, it's suspended by 65 glue laminated wood pillars. And I've got people coming up, architects, designers, builders, who are asking for tours of the building. They're not really interested in anything in the auditorium or the conference center. They just want to see, how did we work with this glue lam material to build that curtain wall. The bottom line is, at the time that we stopped with shell and core, everything that was price sensitive, concrete, glass, everything I just described to you, steel, all those materials were already installed. So we kind of dodged the bullet in terms of any exposure to cost escalation on that part of the project. The money, this is a $50 million project, and I guess that's why this tends to be confused as a public works project. It is, again, it's a nonprofit. At the time we broke ground, we had 60% of the money raised, and our contractor, Mortensen, out of Minneapolis, felt that the fundraising was so strong, and the worry about prices so grave that we decided to start the building with 60% of the money needed to finish it. At the time we stopped at shell and core last spring, we had raised additional money. And to date, we're at 87% raised on a $50 million project, which means there's $6.5 million left to raise. And our fundraising is back on track and has been very strong. And we look to begin or ready to lift the phone and call Mortensen back sometime late this spring to begin this work. I also mentioned this is something that people are interested in here locally. We only spent 1% of what it cost to raise these funds. Often projects like this, you spend 10 to 15% just in the administration of raising the funds, and we've spent less than 2% on operations. My salary and a couple of other people. We've been running very lean on this project, and that's been certified by 5 clean financial audits. So our motivation, unlike governments that have to really focus on the lowest cost on behalf of the taxpayer and their constituents, we're looking to build a building that's going to last for centuries and provide a value to the community. And so value was the primary motivation. This is not a design bid build. We decided that in order to create that value, we would go to a design build approach, which allowed us to, basically find an architect that specialized in this, and we did in Seattle, right in our backyard. LMN Architects, they're the designer for the Benaroya Symphony Hall and the Macaw Opera House, and they do this kind of work nationwide. And before any drawings were created, we hired Mortensen Corporation, again through a formal request for proposal. And in the design build arena, that allowed Mortensen to take a team of estimators and physically co-locate them in the architect's office. So as the architect is drawing this iconic award-winning building, Mortensen was looking over their shoulders to remind them of the laws of physics and how things work in the field. At the end of that 9-month, 3-phase drawing process, Mortensen offered us a guaranteed maximum price of $48.7 million and a guaranteed 641-day build time. And through this approach, we were able to include a couple of things in the contract, or the agreement, I should say. And one of them was an emphasis on local trades. So when push came to shove, we wanted our local contractors or subs to be included in this project. Another thing that we did was we put in an exit ramp into the agreement, meaning that knowing that we'd raise 60% at the get-go and not knowing what was, to transpire after that, we put in this exit ramp clause so that if something happened and we had to stop, we agreed what we would do in that case. We were at that time looking at material costs and supply chain knots and that sort of thing, never thinking that it would be a virus that would prompt that. But there it was, and that's what we used to stop at shell and core. So this drawing set, because of that design build approach, it's one of the cleanest drawing sets Mortensen claims they've ever worked with. And as a result, a building like this would normally generate thousands of requests for information and hundreds of change orders. We've only had 408 RFIs to date. I've only signed 13 change orders on this project, and we're pretty pleased with the way that's working. We've also been able to minimize the contingency spend. We've only spent about 21% of our contingency to date, and everything that I was worried about in terms of what was underneath the ground and getting out of the ground, that's behind us now. So so we're carrying a pretty good value there. Again, this low emphasis on local inputs. So Mortensen and the Port Angeles Waterfront Center, which is the overall organization that Field Hall does business under. Did 3 major outreach events to local builders. And as a result of those, we were able to get some great interest in this project. And Angeles Concrete was selected to place the concrete. Olympic Electric is doing the electrical work. Jamestown Excavating did the site prep, Bucks Landscaping, so on and on and on. This is, we really take our hats off to Mortensen for including local help on this project. And we also have an incentive in the agreement that any savings we can find through value engineering, Mortensen will get 30% of that, and we'll take 70%. So that has resulted in a $422,000 amount under budget. So we're at Shell and Core for $422K less than we thought it would cost. Over $11.3 million have gone to trades located on the North Olympic Peninsula. And the rest of the hard construction costs have been concentrated in Western Washington. And the other part that we're also very proud of is that we've had 0 injuries on this job. So there's the building. We will be looking to restart construction inside, hopefully late this spring. Most of our subs have indicated they want to come back and work with us. We had to let one go. It was a smaller millwork group that our project had tied up all their bonding capacity, and they couldn't chase other work, so we let them go. But I know they're anxious to come back if available, and we'll be looking at maybe rebidding a bit of this work. So the takeaways on this is the building is now 65% complete. We're $422 under budget at this point. 87% of the money is raised, and we've got basically 8 months of work left to do. That's 6 months worth of interior work and about 2 months of commissioning before we would open in, I would say, late spring or early summer of 2023. Also, Field Hall, I may want to mention that we have been kind of catalytic in a number of other projects that are going on. So let me just go back briefly here. And this picture, to the right of this picture, you'll note that there's a vacant property. We own that, and we are leasing it to 2 other organizations, the Marine Discovery Center, which is a consortium of the Faro Marine Life Center, NOAA, and the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation. They plan to build a $22 million Marine Discovery Center at the far west end of the property. And then in the middle, we've invited the Lower Elwha Clallam tribe to build a cultural center. And that would then allow an arts, science, and cultural case statement all on that property. Across the street, on Front Street, because of this building, the city is working with a developer out of Bellevue. And if that negotiation succeeds, his intent is to build a 7-story, 70-unit condominium and mixed retail and seafood restaurant. And what I believe is one of the conditions of sale is that he would also have to build a parking structure. What he has planned right now is a 320 stall parking structure that would be between his building and the North Olympic Clinic on Front Street. And then just down the street to the left, of course, many of you know that the Lower Elwha Clallam tribe is building a hotel. We've been in negotiations with them from the get-go. They decided, because we were providing all of this wonderful conference and meeting space, that they could dedicate what they had intended to use for meeting space to more rooms. And so that's a 100-room facility, and they just got their shoreline development application approved here about a week ago. So they're ready to begin building, I believe, starting late spring as well. So there's a lot going on the waterfront, both public, private, and nonprofit, and we're really pleased with how our project has gone outside of the virus, but we're looking to get going again here later this year.
Well, thank you, Chris, for this really great overview. You know, what a terrific resource for Clallam County. And, you know, for those of us that are not actually in Clallam, it's kind of like the best kept secret. So congratulations on what you guys are doing there and the resources that you provide. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Leslie.
Okay, so we're gonna move right along. We're running a little bit behind, and we're gonna change things up a little bit. We have just a short overview of the City of Sequim and Clallam PUD, and also the US Navy that we're gonna move to the end of the sessions here so that our presenters can actually get done and move on for the day. So up next, we have Brianna Yee, who is here from Pacific Northwest National Labs, and they have a facility in Sequim. And so I'd like to invite Brianna to share her screen and give us an update as to what's happening.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Leslie, and thank you for accommodating the changing schedule. I have a commitment at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and Leslie is nice enough to let me go now. So yes, as Leslie mentioned, I am Brianna Yee. I am from the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, which is a DOE research and development facility with its main campus located in Richland, Washington, and with a satellite campus in Sequim, Washington as well. And Leslie, I'm trying to share my screen, but it looks like I not. Did you set it up so that everyone could share?
You've got the co-host permissions. It should be able to go. We take it off and put it back on. See if it.
There we go.
Something.
Yep. No, got it. All right. Great. All right. So what you'll see on the screen is just a picture of our Richland campus. And we have about 45 different buildings here in Richland, and we have about 5,000 staff members who are working for PNNL across our complex. Again, we have satellite laboratory, which I'll give you a little bit more information about, our Marine Sciences Research Capability Center, which is located in Sequim. And then we have satellite office in Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, and also in Washington, DC.
Brianna, we can't see your screen yet. There you go. Okay, good job.
All right, there we go. All right, so just for all of you who are not aware of PNNL's place in the DOE M&O contractor world, DOE has 17 national laboratories that really just are focused on tackling a lot of the critical scientific challenges that DOE has committed to researching and developing solutions for the federal government. So it be anything from energy, earth sciences, chemistry, data analytics, grid modernization, energy storage. And one of our capabilities is also within the nuclear security sector. We work in collaboration with other national laboratories and sites across the country, other research laboratories that are part of the Office of Science, which is what PNNL is part of, and then also with laboratories and sites that are part of the Environmental Management Capability, and then the Nuclear Naval Security Administration, or the NNSA. So sites throughout the country in collaboration with PNNL to really tackle some of DOE's really biggest and most important, critical, impactful research and development capabilities. So a little bit about PNNL specifically. PNNL is operated by Battelle Memorial Institute as its M&O contractor, and it has been since 1965, which is a really fantastic accomplishment by Battelle to have ran PNNL so successfully for the Department of Energy. Again, you'll see the capabilities that I mentioned. It's really mission driven and dependent upon what type of research is being done at each site. A lot of the energy and environmental work is being done at our Marine Sciences Capabilities Center in SQUIM, where a lot of the grid modernization, energy storage, and the NNSA work is being done on our Richland campus down in southeastern Washington. We do a lot of energy research as well as some more energy storage, grid modernization out of our Portland, Oregon office, and then a lot of the NNSA Department of Homeland Security type of research is done out of our Seattle office as well. Some facts about DOE or about PNNL. We actually have about 5,000 staff members, and it is a little bit more than that. This graphic is actually being updated by my communications department right now. They didn't have an updated one for FY21 for this presentation just yet. We do about $1.1 billion in spending each year. And our scientists and our researchers who come and work at PNNL are really world-renowned scientists and researchers from all the different types of scientific discovery categories. We do a lot, obviously, with the national security related work. And so you'll see that the majority of the work that we do at PNNL is funded by national security, which is not something that is very widely known across the complex. People mainly think that because we are co-located with the Hanford site here in Richland, Washington, that a lot of what we do is cleanup for that Hanford site. But obviously, as you can see, national security related work and national security work is a lot of our portfolio, almost half of what our portfolio is for the work that we do for DOE and other clients. And on that note, some of the things that we do for national security mission sponsors, nuclear non-proliferation, so making sure that nuclear material does not end up in the wrong hands. We also do quite a bit in explosives detection. We have a lot of capabilities and research going on in the area of cyber situational research. And then if you look at the picture in the bottom right-hand corner, systems engineering and deployment, that picture right there is actually a piece of technology that was developed at PNNL several years ago that was implemented into something that pretty much all of us before the COVID-19 pandemic were used to taking part of, and that would be the whole body scanners that you see at airports that you go through that scan for illegal materials before you get onto a plane. So fun fact, that was actually developed for the fashion industry to be used for people to make custom clothing. And Department of Energy and the federal government said, no, we're going to use this and provide it to TSA in order to be able to deploy it at airports. Some of our facilities that we have across our complex, across our different sites. Our Environmental Molecular Sciences Laboratory is a building that we have here on our Richland campus, where we have a supercomputer and a very large helium magnet that's doing quite a bit of research in that center with super users, and it is also a global partnership from across the world. People come and do their research at our Emsel facility. We also have a bioproduct sciences and engineering laboratory. That's one of our newer buildings on the Richland campus, where they were doing exactly what you would imagine. There is quite a bit of biological research that is going on in that facility with private clients such as the CDC or the NIH. And then down in the left-hand corner, there's a picture of work that is being done on our Marine and Coastal Research Laboratory, our MCRL, and that's what's located in SQUIM, and there are so many different things that are going on there. It is DOE's only marine sciences laboratory, has an ultra-trace background for measurement and signature sciences facilities that really just enable marine energy innovation. They have a scientific dive team that supports an in-water research testing, and they have biosafety level 2 laboratories that provide the venue for examining toxic production in marine species. And what's really great about our MCRL is that it has direct access to the ocean. It has ultra clean air and water, and there is an aquatic and terrestrial interface permitted in water test facilities there as well. So really quick, what we buy and how we buy it, just to give you a little bit of an overview. We purchase a very broad spectrum, as I'll show you on the next slides, of goods and services, mainly through 3 different methods. We purchased through subcontracts or purchase order, which is mainly for our high risk, high dollar goods and services. Through that, we purchased almost $500 million in fiscal year 21. We also purchased a lot of low dollar goods and services through use of a P card. And that would be, the majority of that is going to be things that we cannot purchase through our e-procurement catalogs, which is what we call our B2B. And that is our commercial off-the-shelf goods. And in fiscal year 21, we did about 25 million with our P cards, and about 20 million was done through our e-procurement programs. Of course, PNNL supports all of DOE's small business objectives. We have small business goals, not just for small business in general, but obviously for all the different socioeconomic categories of women-owned, service disabled, veteran-owned itself, hub zone, and then also disadvantaged businesses. A little bit more on a slide to come on that. Our typical purchases, really, they just include a lot of scientific and laboratory equipment, energy and efficiency resources and services, SME capabilities, obviously security software systems and products for that nuclear non-proliferation aspect of our portfolio, computational tools, IT services, and then construction of facilities, infrastructure equipment, which we do have an opportunity coming up for our SWIM campus for a lot of construction and infrastructure equipment coming up in the next several out years. Our top NAICS codes that we purchase, so you can see this is primarily services. We do purchase quite a bit of collaborative services with universities to do research for not only the Department of Energy, but also for private clients through use of a use contract that Battelle is eligible to use for PNNL services. We also purchase quite a bit of professional, scientific, and technical services, as well as research and development in all the different life sciences. Our goods categories, this is a little bit of an eye chart, but really it's mainly just to show you just how much we actually purchase in our goods. That is a different type of equipment than you may be used to selling to the federal government. A lot of the work that we're doing in national security, we do need to purchase a lot of radiation detectors. And then our second biggest purchase in goods is laboratory and scientific equipment. And then throughout the whole spectrum, you can really just see that we have a wide variety of goods and services that we're purchasing on a regular basis. And it changes from fiscal year to fiscal year, depending upon the projects that PNNL has in its portfolio for that year. Back to our small business goals, just to give you a little bit of insight into how we have our goaling, and then how we did in fiscal year 21 to show any areas where we may need some additional help. For FY22, we still don't have our goals from the Department of Energy. They have not passed those on from the Small Business Administration, but from what I hear, they shouldn't be too different than what we had for fiscal year 21. So you can see we have a goal to purchase at least half of our eligible subcontracting base from small businesses, and then 5% to disadvantaged, 5% to women-owned, and 3% to hub zone veteran-owned and service-disabled veteran-owned. So the areas where we particularly struggle the most in finding businesses to meet our capabilities is in the area of hub zone. Women-owned and veteran-owned to be the ones that are the most easy for us to find certifications. We are always looking for new partners in those areas. Disadvantaged businesses and SDVOs continue to also be somewhat of a struggle for us from time to time, just finding the right businesses with the right capabilities to meet our mission needs. So some things that you all can do in order to prepare to do business and do work with PNNL. So one of the things I always like to tell small businesses is that before you do work with PNNL, or even before you really reach out to PNNL, whether it be to me as a small business program or to one of our contracts managers or a contract specialist, is really take the time to learn about PNNL. As I've mentioned in the last 6 minutes, PNNL has a really diverse portfolio across the entire gamut of what we do on our different campuses, and especially what we do here in Richland, Washington. So take a few minutes to learn about what it is that we do and how your business can specifically help with its mission. Become familiar with our prime contract for the contract scope and requirements that likely will be flowed down and throughout our different contracts. So you can understand also the things that we are required and we have committed to the Department of Energy that we will do in order to run the campus safely, but also meet all of the mission needs. And then I would definitely say, reach out to me, the small business program manager, to express your interest and then to submit your capability statement and your line card. It's always really great to have that information to pass along to our contract specialists, especially when they come to me looking for resources and capabilities for different solicitations that they need. And then register in our acquisition supplier portal. The link is provided in these slides that are provided online for you. So that is going to be an online database for our contract specialists to find companies that fit their needs in different NAICS codes, different areas of the country and socioeconomic categories for their bidders list and to send solicitations to. And a side note, there is a separate approval process for those companies who would like to be a prime or a subcontractor for on-site construction. And then if you're a large business, just be sure to partner with a small business in offering your services and capabilities to us. Additionally, I would also become familiar with the requirements for our vendor setup. This is very important that it's noted that we do require a Dun & Bradstreet number, and we do also require either that your company is registered in the system for award management, or that you will be expected to fill out what's called a MOSRC form, and it just satisfies small business reporting that we have to the Department of Energy. So know that up front what your requirements are. And then all of our opportunities are posted on our solicitations website for anything that is going to be greater than $250,000. And then any other opportunities that our contract specialists would like to solicit some additional interest for. Right now, this is what we have out there: an RFI for our work authorization system, also a weather balloon, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity RFP, and then one for length of service appreciation and gratitude recognition. So we're a little bit light on our solicitations that are posted out there at the moment, but they change all the time. So check back frequently and check back often to see how they're changing from time to time. And then just really quick before I wrap up, there is some opportunities, as I mentioned, for some construction services on the PNNL SQUIM campus. In the following out years. Obviously, we're out to fiscal year 31 for some of the shoreline access improvements, but we do have a lot that's coming up this fiscal year as well as next fiscal year. We've got a water and sewer line conversion project that is going to be happening with about a $4.8 million minor construction dollar tag associated with it. And then we are looking at doing a new campus storage building with about a $3 million for G&A and minor construction as well. And then we are also looking in the next 2 to 5 years to build a new access road on the campus uplands. That's about a $1 million project, and we're really focusing on a FY23 infrastructure development project just to improve the overall accessibility of the PNNL SQUIM campus. So, and then we also have research facility revitalization going on. A lot of different buildings are going to be have infrastructure redone. A lot of construction development going on inside existing buildings, not necessarily just in new builds. One thing to mention is that last March, we did do a 3-hour presentation on our SQUIM construction opportunities. That webinar was recorded, and the slides and the recording are provided on our small business program website. So I highly encourage you, if you are a construction prime or subcontractor, or an A&E design firm, check out that webinar, watch it, and don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions at all. And then lastly, next week, we do have another one of those webinars scheduled, doing business with PNNL, focused on the Richland campus construction. So similarly to how we did the one last year for Swim campus construction, we will be hosting one for the Richland campus construction. If you are interested in registering, there is a link in the slides. Otherwise, you can visit the PNNL Small Business Program website, and that link for registration is provided there. And then links for all the things that I've mentioned, our acquisition supplier portal, solicitation website, our small business program website, and my email as a small business program manager are provided here. So thank you, Leslie, and thank you to everybody. Are there any questions?
Well, we'll field some questions here, but I want to thank Brianna for cutting into her next meeting and sharing her time with us. We do have this updated presentation that we will be uploading to our digital Dropbox, and we will post that link again towards the end of the session today. So thank you, Brianna, and we look forward to seeing you the next time.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Have a great day.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna take just a little mini break here. And again, we're gonna move the City of Squam and Clallam PUD and the Naval Undersea Warfare Center presentations to the end because we have up General Services Administration from the federal government. And we have Anshane Hill Namoto with Anthony Caruso here today. And so if they are available, we'll go ahead and turn it over to them, and you'll get to learn a thing or two about the General Services Administration. So hi, Anshane, and hi, Anthony, and we're gonna give you share ability, and Anthony's right on it. So good job, Anthony, and we'll listen to what you have to say.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll try not to take too much time to leave it open for questions. As you can see on the screen here, that's me. I'm Anshane Nomoto from General Services Administration, and I am your Region 10 Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization Representative. Joining me is Anthony Caruso. He's in sunny Los Angeles. He's the Region 9 representative for what we call OSDBU in short, and will be available at the end to answer any questions. Hopefully you have some. Next slide. Okay, so just a brief explanation of what General Services Administration is. We're a federal civilian agency. We began in 1949 by President Truman. This slide just gives you a snapshot of our mission, which is to deliver value and savings in real estate acquisition, technology, and other mission support services across the federal government. So we're the backbone of the federal government. I often tell folks that in essence, GSA is the Amazon, the Costco, and the Century 21 of the federal government. We buy, we sell, we manage a massive portfolio of goods, real estate, and services, including cars, for all of the federal government agencies, as well as local and state agencies to utilize. So over the years, our mission has evolved. We also support most, or if not all, Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong, the IT support systems for the federal government. And we're one of the largest buyers and we contract for billions of dollars worth of products and services for federal government agencies, and including the DoD worldwide. So our policies promote management best practices, and efficient government operations. So what does that mean to businesses, particularly small businesses, as far as our office is concerned? We serve the same customer agencies that you market to. So if you're interested in selling to the federal government, it may be worth your time to explore what GSA has to offer. And we hope that the next few slides will shed some light on just where to start. Next slide, please. So I'm one of GSA's small business advocates, as well as Anthony. OSDBU has representatives in every region. You can see circled in red there what my office covers. Northwest Arctic region covers 4 states. We're referred to as the front door for small businesses looking to do work with GSA. OSDBU oversees all the small business programs, and we provide counseling to all businesses. We promote increased access to GSA's nationwide procurement opportunities, and by working, with the acquisition workforce within our agency. So we monitor, we implement small business policies, we manage a range of programs mandated by federal law, and the socioeconomic programs that we advocate and that are mandated by law are listed there. Next slide, please. So these are just some of the general statistics regarding Region 10. You can see there, Region 10 covers the 4 states, Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. We have 12 million citizens across 817,000 square miles that we cover. Our employees within GSA are about 465, give or take. And we have contractors from 3,200 different, vendors that we contract with across the region. And we serve more than 100,000 federal employees over this area. Next slide. All right, so GSA is made up of 2 components which offer contract opportunities. We have our public building service, also known as PBS, and our federal acquisition service, also known as FAST. PBS leads the way in green building design, construction, retrofit, sustainable operations, and maintenance. So GSA is considered the government's landlord. And as you can see, PBS owns or leases over 8,000 assets. We're massive. GSA maintains an inventory of more than 370 million square feet of workspace for 1.1 million federal employees across the country. And we preserve 500 historic properties. So if you offer services in construction, in maintenance, in building operations, in leasing, or other related construction services, it may be in your best interest to visit the GSA PBS website, which is listed, the link is listed there below. The Federal Acquisition Service also offers a wide variety of contract opportunities. The contract vehicles offer billions of dollars worth of products and services, and facility maintenance service type contracts for federal agencies that serve the public. So there's always an open solicitation available for you to become an industry partner and to help GSA supply federal agencies with your products and services. Next slide. So how do we do business? Well, our customers are DoD and all the federal, state, and local governments, as well as tribal entities. So whether it's in PBS or FAST, our mission is to ensure that agencies can focus on their mission, and we do everything in the background. So that's why I say GSA is the backbone of the federal government. Next slide. So by far, the Federal Acquisition Service is really renowned for the multiple award schedule, and multiple award schedule contracts are publicized by a standing consolidated solicitation, and it's posted on SAM.gov under the contract opportunity section. Anthony, I believe that that solicitation is also available through GSA eLibrary. Am I right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, thanks. And MASS, we call it MASS. It promotes small business utilization by, we use set-asides at the schedule level. So total small business set-asides are available, and the services you see listed in the link or in the standing solicitation is there at the bottom of the screen. So you can check that out when you get a chance. Next slide, please. So as far as for public building service, this is a list of the upcoming requirements that we have forecasted. And it's really a result of the new Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that was signed by President Biden back in November. It's going to have a huge impact on GSA Northwest Arctic region by way of new projects. And there are several land port of entry projects for Region 10, which not only benefits regional infrastructure, but will also provide economic recovery to the surrounding communities. So most of these projects are designed to increase operational efficiency, capability through construction, like additional lanes to optimize traffic flow, or technology enhancements that will improve automated processing efficiency. So in total, the region will receive more than $500 million in funding that will upgrade these facilities and bring job opportunities to the area. So the link below is to our forecast of contract opportunities. So in addition to sam.gov, we highly recommend that you keep an eye on upcoming requirements via the site. It allows you to search by state, by region within GSA, and it gives you a breakdown of how much the project is estimated. Sometimes it might change, what the current acquisition strategy may be, who the POC is, and within anything in Region 10, my name will be listed there as a point of contact along with the projected contracting officer. I highly recommend that you reach out to me first if you have any particular questions regarding projects that you see listed on the forecast site. So with that, that's my final slide. I can open it up for any general questions you might have. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Anjanae and Anthony. It's always amazing to me how much GSA is doing around the region. And just as a note, the local, Arctic Region 10 of the GSA office has recently moved from Auburn, Washington to Tacoma, Washington. So they are truly a local resource for us. And, the bottom line is that it's all about who you know. And, so many of the things that, when you talk General Services Administration, it's everything from fire equipment to janitorial supplies to painting buildings or remodeling buildings, because you think of the public building aspect of GSA and the opportunities for construction companies or construction related companies. There's actually a lot of opportunities in the region. I like that slide on Sinead that you just put up with like Linden and Sumas and some of these other things that are going on. And things like what the U.S. Postal Service, the post office building itself, that comes under GSA also. So if you have a post office in your community, or in any kind of border patrol, those are things that are opportunities for small businesses. So thanks, Anjanae, and thank you, Anthony. And let me look here, see if there's any questions. Okay, well, I don't see any right offhand, but your slideshow is really an awesome resource with all the clickable links in it. And it is available on our digital Dropbox. So thank you again. And we appreciate you spending some time with us again today.
Thanks for having us.
All right, thank you. So we're gonna take just a short little intermission here, catch our breath before we do the sessions on City of Sequim, Clallam PUD, and the Naval Undersea Warfare Center. We would like to thank the Clallam Economic Development Council, Colleen McClear, Lori Fazio, Peggy Simmons. They're a pretty dynamic team that has helped us launch this program. We also partner with the North Peninsula Building Association, Amber Dewey. Kitsap Bank has sponsored this little series that we're doing. And then, of course, we couldn't do it without the Northwest Small Business Transportation Resource Center of Aisha and Andrew. And Washington PTAC has done a lot of the backbone of running an event like this, taking care of all the registrations and doing all the data analytics after the fact. We also would like to thank all the speakers, the local speakers, Port Angeles, City of Port Angeles, Clallam County, Field Arts and Event Hall, PNNL and GSA. You can't help but have learned a lot today. And we will make, all of these resources available to you, including the video that will continue recording until we get done with all the rest of the presentations. And if you have any questions for anybody that's left at the end, we'll be happy to try to answer some questions. So with that, we're going to turn it over to Andrew Miller from SBTRC. And Andrew's just going to do a quick overview of the City of Sequim and Clallam PUD, and then maybe not so quick overview of the Naval Undersea Warfare Center. So Andrew.
Howdy, good morning. The City of Sequim and the Clallam PUD were not able to attend, so they forwarded some documents. And we're going to just do a quick glance at the documents that they have. For example, this text file from PUD is just a quick overview of how to sign up for MRSC rosters. And then they've also got I'm sorry?
Andrew, can you make that print bigger for those of us that are old? Perfect.
How's that?
Thank you. Good.
So a quick overview of how to sign up for MRSC rosters. And then the link, of course, for information of projects that are out to bid, which apparently they don't have any at the moment. But if you have any questions for Clallam PUD, you can contact Mike Hill, the engineering manager up in Carlsberg, and I'll drop that information all into the chat. And unfortunately, that does complete the Clallam PUD portion of the presentation. Let me grab the next one here. Let's see, close that one. Bear with me just a moment. Go into the chat. Everybody gets this contact information. And there's Mike Hill's information for PUD. Now, the City of Sequim is in a similar situation, unable to attend and sent some contact. So here is theirs. Big enough font for you? Okay. And then they've got their listing of capital projects, which they provided in a long form PDF, which I can grab. I guess I should have thought of that ahead of time. But Sarah Van Osdol is the City of Sequim Public Works Director, and her contact information will also be available in the chat. If you give me just a moment, I'll go ahead and open up that information that she provided. However, this is best perused in slow form because there's a lot of data in that. Let's see, where did that go? Bear with me, that's the wrong one. It's that one. That one? No, I apologize. Here is the official Word doc on how to open up the MRSC rosters, though. They sent us a full how-to from the city of Sequim. And it's just a link to their website with basic navigation tips, how to go in through the memberships, and where to fill things out. So not necessarily as exciting as I think they thought it was going to be. Maybe they had a presentation to go with it. All right, let me go ahead and get back in Dropbox.
Andrew, while you're doing that, the MRSC and MRSC rosters, which we put the link in earlier, it's mrscrosters.org, is a huge resource for small businesses. That if you want to sell desks and chairs to the libraries or school districts or fire districts, water districts, any kind of municipal district, MRSC has a list of all of these agencies throughout the state. And the agencies are hoping to get small businesses to bid on these opportunities. So mrscrosters.org is a tremendous resource for small businesses, and the website is very user friendly. You can register for free and get some daily updates and information like that. But for more resources, I think they have a subscription price in it. I know it used to be $25 a year. So I think that it's not an outrageous subscription if you wanted to incorporate that into part of your market research or looking for opportunities. So, okay, so that's my lecture on MRSC, and we'll hand it back to Andrew to finish up with, are we moving on to the Navy right now?
Yep, just momentarily. I wanted to make sure, since this is being recorded and for posterity, I got their City of Sequim's capital improvement program data.
Oh,
and
good.
it looks like they've got some good numbers going here, but I don't know enough about it to interpret them. Maybe Leslie or Lori, one of you might know what these numbers represent or how well things are doing for them. But this is what they sent us to share with y'all.
Maybe Colleen could speak to this.
Colleen?
Yeah, I had looked through this. I think it's a pretty interesting. This is their capital improvement plan for, if I can't see the full screen, but I believe it's for the next 5 years. Yeah, 2022 through 2027, and where they intend to be spending money and what those projects are. So there's a lot of road improvements, of course. So anybody that's is in paving or flagging or hydro seeding, that kind of thing, there's quite a bit of funding that is intended in those spaces, safety consultants, etc. And so those that are highlighted in yellow, I took it as an intention that they would be funding those and in the next 5-year period. So looking through those, depending on what your area of expertise is as a small business, you would probably want to contact the appropriate person at the City of Sequim to get more information about when they think that those RFPs would be coming out. Looking in the near term in 2022, the city shop upgrade and expansion, and then anyway, I would focus on the 2022 for the near run to see if there's something in those areas that they that might need to hire, the GC might need to hire a subcontractor that would need the skills that your company would provide. And yeah, I'm not seeing the correlation between the highlighted yellow. That may be just when they did this, what they were going to highlight to their Sequim City Council, or maybe what changed from prior years.
All right, well, thanks for the expertise on that. The contact information for Sarah Von Osdal is in the chat. The Assistant Public Works Director has left herself open to all inquiries. So if you have any thoughts about this or a chance to hit on something you wanted to know more, just give her a call. Or maybe you could just, nope, she didn't drop an email. Okay, go to sequimwa.gov. Maybe you can find some contact information there.
I'll find her email and put it in the chat.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Colleen.
Sure.
So, Andrew, I just got a quick note from David Waltz, and he is online and he is prepared to do his presentation. So if you want to do the share screen for David, then we should be good to go.
All right, so we'll go ahead and let David take over. You're up and running. Everything's good to go for you, sir? Then I will go ahead and close mine out and give it to you.
Great, thank you. Hold on one second. I'm going to pull up my brief.
I was actually nervous because that's such a great presentation. And I remember the last time you worked with us and it was like, that guy's stuff is awesome. I've got to do that justice. And then luckily for us, you got to do it.
So hopefully everybody could see the briefing here, and it's not switching like I was hoping it would switch, but let's see if I can.
Perfect.
All right. Oh, it's kind of scrolling through, so I apologize. But real quick, here's the agenda. And first of all, thanks so much for inviting me to speak at this event. I always appreciate working with Leslie with this event or other PTAC events, and she's always great and very helpful for the events that I put on my monthly small business events. So real quick, here's a quick agenda. And I'll try to get through all of this as quickly as possible. I wish this was working a little bit better. But real quick, a little bit about Keyport. We are a Navy research enterprise. So we exist to transition technology to the fleet. We're designated a federal laboratory with the authorities and technical capabilities that are unique from most other Navy commands. And we are a science, engineering, and technology agent for the Navy. So we are an undersea warfare center. The Navy has 10, NAVSEA, we're part of NAVSEA, and NAVSEA has 10 warfare centers. They have 8 surface warfare centers that are spread out around the country, and then 2 undersea warfare centers. So the other warfare center is in Newport, Rhode Island. So what you're looking at right now, this is Keyport's key technologies right here. So test and evaluation, in-service engineering, maintenance and industrial base support, fleet maintenance readiness, logistics support. We also have the unmanned underwater vehicle support. We have a large contracts and acquisition office. We also do a lot of obsolescence management, as well as a corporate operations business or operations department that does like the IT, admin, business, financial, and all that good stuff. Here's some of our technical capabilities. We do have our range support. So at Keyport, we do maintain 3 ranges in the local area. So we have our range that's right in the Hood Canal, Dabob Bay area. We have a range where we partner with the Canadian Navy up in Nanoose, Canada, British Columbia. And then we also have a range right off the coast of Washington State in the Pacific Ocean. We also have ranges at our detachments. We have a detachment in San Diego, as well as one in Hawaii. We do have our maintenance facility here at Keyport, where we maintain torpedoes as well as our targets. And those targets are used out on those ranges where we do our testing and evaluation. We also, like I mentioned earlier, we have unmanned underwater vehicles. We were the first in the Navy to have an unmanned underwater squadron. So that's where we are continually developing that technology for the Navy. All right, so what the screen here that you're looking at is just our small business numbers. As you can see, that top row, the overall small business, we always make our overall small business goals, but you can see a little scattering of red in there. There are some of the socioeconomic categories that we have to continually work on and develop that vendor base. So the small disadvantaged businesses, as well as women-owned small business are those that we want to try to improve on in 2022. As you can see on this slide as well, we're doing really well early on in the first quarter for 2022. Women-owned small business we're a little bit low on, but we do have a couple of IDIQ contracts with women-owned small businesses that will help those numbers going forward. But again, we still want to improve those numbers going forward. So if you're a women-owned small business that does manufacturing or a machine shop or even provides services, please contact me. I'd love to have that conversation with you and add you to our small business directory here at Keyport. Here's our top 10 NAICS codes ending in FY 2021. So the engineering services, I want to just touch on that real quick. So all service contracts with the Navy, we use an IDIQ called Seaport Next Generation. And Seaport Next Generation is used throughout the Navy. If you are not on that IDIQ, you will not be able to bid as a prime contractor. However, you can be a subcontractor. And if you do provide services such as engineering services, IT services, if you provide administration, financial management, any of those types of services, contact me. I could give you a list of those Seaport prime contractors, and you can start building those teaming arrangements to where you could, just get your feet in the water as a subcontractor, and then maybe later on you could go on the Seaport contract as a prime. Seaport only opens up about every 4 years, or excuse me, 2 to 4 years, I should say. They just closed it about last summer, so we're not expecting them to open up for new contractors for at least another 2 years or so. So if you are interested in learning more about Seaport, please contact me. Also, shipbuilding and repairing before I move on. That one, we do have a couple torpedo boats and barges at Keyport. A lot of times we'll do the contracting ourselves. However, there's also other times where the shipyard will take on that work. So if you are a shipbuilding company, always look out for those opportunities. Most of them are going to be at the shipyard, but every once in a while we'll see some of those opportunities here coming out of our contract shop. Next couple of slides are just going to kind of show you how the money is dispersed within those NAICS codes. Again, 334511, that is our largest NAICS code, and that really deals with a lot of our underwater systems. Here are some of the things that we buy. In the next slide, I'm going to break it down a little bit more, how these fit into those different NAICS categories. So of course, torpedo components is one of our largest, supply buys, because we do maintain torpedoes and the targets. So that's why we're always looking for those manufacturing machine shop type of companies. Also, a lot of those components are build to drawing type items. So if you are a machine shop and you want to do business with the Navy, Couple things you need to know is one, you need to get a JCP certification, and you can get that JCP certification through the DLA website. So if you just did a quick Google search of JCP certification, it'll take you right to where you need to go to, so you could fill out the proper paperwork. The only bad thing about it, the paperwork itself is pretty easy to fill out, but it takes about 2 to 4 months to get the signed copy back from DLA, and you cannot bid on that work until you have that copy. So if you are interested, I highly encourage you to start filling out that paperwork right now, so you can start bidding on work here in the next couple months. Also, the NIST 800-171 certification, that's what we're using for cybersecurity right now. It's going to transition into, oh, my mind just went blank. There's other cybersecurity requirements coming up here in the near future. Anyway, you need to have that your NIST 800, at least a basic certification in order to look at some of those drawings. But when you're doing your JCP certification, that's one of the things they're going to look for. Do you at least have a basic certification for NIST 800? Here we go. Here's our NAICS code breakdown and in those areas, those things that we are buying. So the NAICS codes begin with 3.3. The manufacturing, that's definitely the ones that we do most of our contracting for. And then again, that professional services. As far as information, like the software licenses, hardware for IT, we do use the NASA SOUP GWAC. And again, you have to be on that GWAC in order to provide those goods to us. So any type of IT hardware and software, again, we use the NASA SOUP GWAC. NASA SOUP, kind of like Seaport, it doesn't open up for new contractors. I think it's like every 10 years. But what I understand is they're going to be opening up here soon for new contractors. So keep an eye out for that. Just go to NASA SOUP, SEWP, to that website to learn more, to find out when they're going to open it up for new contractors. Also find out who's on there right now, because you can become a subcontractor to those that are already on NASA SOUP to start providing those goods and services to the Navy. For construction, I will say this, most large construction projects at Keyport or at the shipyard or anywhere a naval base Kitsap, they go through NAVFAC Northwest. I do have the NAVFAC Northwest small business deputy on this slide, his contact information. But we have started doing some small construction projects at Keyport, such as, just some facility support. Sometimes it might be some parking lot repainting or tree trimming. But we do some of the small construction work at Keyport. So if you are a general contractor, look out for some of those opportunities. This is how we buy items under 10,000. We use purchase card. We do have a purchase card shop. Over 10,000, we use purchase orders. And anything over 10,000 does come across my desk, so I kind of know what's coming out. Those contracts that are 25,000 or more are going to be posted on Beta SAM. I will say this, excuse me, it's not Beta SAM anymore, it's just plain old SAM. But though if it does have a drawing, I'm going to see it. And what I'd like to do about once a week, those new postings, I'm going to send out to small businesses that are in our small business queue. And that way you'll have that opportunity to see those. Again, I mentioned NASA SOUP for IT, and services are on Seaport. One thing I do want to mention as well, we have an Echelon 5 command out of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and we do the contracting for them. And what their biggest thing is, they provide logistics support for all of the warfare centers across the country. So any of the warehouse or logistics type of contracts that support the warfare centers are going to come out of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. I am the small business deputy for Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. So there's a good chance that if you're in my small business list, that you would find out more about those. So if you're a company that provides those kinds of services, please contact me. Here is currently what's on SAM out of Keyport and out of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. These, what you're seeing on this slide here, are all out of Keyport and support our torpedoes maintenance facilities. So if you're interested in learning more about these are posted in SAM. And I can make this slide available to anybody who's requesting it. I do believe I sent it to Leslie, so Leslie should have this slideshow and could put it into make it available to everybody if you're interested, if you want to learn more about these. Here's some of our seaport orders that are coming up. We have an industrial support service contract, and that supports our maintenance facilities for those torpedo shop. And service engineering provides engineering services to our code 40, which is in service engineering. But there's also engineering support that supports our other departments as well. I mentioned that the Naval Surface Warfare Center Logistics Center. They have a property management, that's the warehouse management support, that's going to support Crane, Indiana coming up here in the next, and these are all come out this quarter. So they're going to be coming out real soon. So if you're interested in these as a seaport prime or as a subcontractor, let me know, and I could provide you some potential prime contractors that you could start building teaming arrangements with. Here's some more seaport orders that are going to come out here in this fiscal year. CO6 information technology, that's an IT contract that supports NAVC 06 out on the East Coast. That's the logistics area at NAVC, but that's going to be managed out of the NAVC Logistics Center in Mechanicsburg. And then we also have our San Diego detachment contract coming up. That's a small business set aside, as well as our graphics development, photography, and audio visual services. Acquisition strategy has not been determined yet. In the past, it's gone out full and open. However, small businesses have always won that. So we're just waiting to do our sources sought on that one to find out our acquisition strategy. Some top tips for promoting your firm. Know what we buy. The Navy Office of Small Business website. If you just did a Google search for DON Office of Small Business, they have a great website, and within their website, you could find out everything that the Navy has bought in the last 3 years, the buying organization, as well as the contract. And you could start to find out, hey, does the Navy buy what your company does? And then you could start setting up those meetings with small business professionals around the Navy to find out how you could get notified when those opportunities do come up. Also, the long range acquisition forecast is also posted on that Navy website. Also, promote yourself. The SBA Dynamic Small Business Search contracts, as well as other small business professionals, use that to do their market research. So go into the Dynamic Small Business Search tool to find out if you're promoting your company correctly. A lot of times companies leave their profile blank, and so you're going to get skipped over if that is blank. So make sure you're in there and your profile is updated. And if it's not updated, PTAC or the SBA can help you make sure that's updated. Have a good capability statement. I just put down a couple of things here, having your top NAICS codes, CAGE codes, having also some past performance. Pictures are always good as well. Those are just some of the things that we're looking for. Also state what your socioeconomic categories are. PTAC has a great class. It's called the PTAC Coffee Hour. It's the first Wednesday of every month. Highly encourage you to go to that to learn how to set yourself up with a great capability statement. And top tips to hear if you're going to bid with our organization, but also NAVC. Follow the instructions in that solicitation. Make sure you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's, and submitting the correct paperwork. I hate it when I hear that a small business, their proposal was not accepted because they didn't turn in the right forms or they didn't provide the right information. So make sure you're reading that solicitation thoroughly. And if you have questions, please ask the POC listed if you have any questions on how to submit. Again, we solicit in SAM and Seaport within NAVC. Those are basically all we use. Seaport, you have to have a contract to submit a solicitation as a prime contractor. At Keyport, and this is just for Keyport, I can't speak for all of the warfare centers or NAVC. We do not do a lot of socioeconomic sole sources or direct buys. We do really well in our competition. So that's why you're not going to see a lot of direct buys to an 8A company or a direct buy to a Windows small business. But what we would like to do is have set asides for those categories. So please look at those sources sought, look at those requests for information. Sources sought is how we're going to develop our acquisition strategy if we're going to set it aside or have a socioeconomic set aside. RFIs are great because you get to help develop that statement of work. And that's done by the questions that you come up with when you're looking at those RFIs. I mentioned JCP and the NIST 800 already. This bullet here, I said medium assessments. We're finding out that is really restrictive. So we have gone back. What we're looking for now is the basic assessments. And then again, if you have any questions, please ask. And the best way to ask is through email to the POC listed. Here's some upcoming events. Like I mentioned earlier, I do a monthly event, Wednesdays with the Deputy for Small Business. We're going to be doing that next Wednesday. And that's a great event because we have PTAC as well as Northwest Tech Bridge that joins us on that. And real quick about Northwest Tech Bridge, they are a great resource for you if you are like a research development company. If you have new ideas that you think like this could really help the Navy, talk with the Northwest Tech Bridge folks. We're lucky enough to have them on Keyport and right here in our community. And I have some contact information here as well. I will say they are not a contract shop, but they are they help get that conversation going and help point in the right direction on where your voice will be heard in this crazy thing called Navy procurement. Alliance Northwest, which is the largest outreach event for small business. I know Leslie is probably already advertising for that one as well. But it is going to be virtual. You could register now, so you can go to the Alliance Northwest webpage to learn more. And then Navy Gold Coast, which is one of the largest outreach events that the Navy puts out. That's in San Diego. Right now they're saying it's in person. So if you want to go to San Diego in September, please join us at Navy Gold Coast. Here's some contact information. You have my contact information as well as Northwest Tech Bridge. And then if you don't exactly fit in Keyport's realm of contracting, here's a couple other small business folks that you might want to contact. The Shipyard, Juliet Roski. NavSup, that's the Fleet Logistics Center. That would be Charles Sipe. And NAVFAC Northwest, like I said, they do all the construction for Naval Base Kitsap, except for the small projects that we do. And that would be Mr. Jim Niles. So there's their contact information. And that ends my presentation. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If not, feel free to call me anytime.
Well, thank you, David, for another really great presentation. Yeah, there's so much content in here and so many resources, but the bottom line is so many opportunities for small businesses, be it manufacturing or graphics or, even some, construction things that I really believe that your office is a critical aspect of the Olympic Peninsula. So we'll open it up and see if there's any questions. Anybody have any comments or questions? I don't see anything in the chat. Okay, so with that, Dave, I think we'll go ahead and call it a day. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us and sharing your screen.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
we'll
And
see I
was going to say thanks. And I know I was a little bit late today and I really apologize, but I'm really happy that I got to participate today.
Well, thank you. And again, having the Navy on board is always a great treat for us. So thank you. And thank you to everybody else who came and participated. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Aisha Kadri from the Northwest Small Business Transportation Resource Center. So thanks, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for coming. My name is Aisha, and I'm with the Small Business Transportation Resource Center. We run the, oops, I was muted. All right, so we'll start over here. So my name is Aisha, and like Leslie said, I'm with the Small Business Transportation Resource Center. We run for the Department of Transportation, the bonding education program. So as you heard today from a few of our speakers, the importance for bonding. And so I would highly love for any of you to reach out to me if you're looking to get bonded or increase your bonding capacity. We also offer a Women in Transportation program as well. So if you're looking to get more diversity into your suppliers, that's something we can also help with. And for the sake of time, I'll leave you with that, and I'll include my email in the chat below.
Thanks, Aisha. Just a reminder that this is fully recorded, and if you have any questions at all, please reach out to any of our team. Colleen and Lori and Andrew and Aisha and myself, and we'll be willing to answer any of your questions or point you in the right direction. And remember that tomorrow we have the session with Kara Skinner. It's the full 1.5 hour session on surety bonding. So we look forward to seeing some of you guys tomorrow. So thanks, everyone. And with that, we will stop recording and call it a day. Thanks, everyone.